Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So if you're a teacher, have you ever thought, hey, maybe I could sell some of my classroom resources online? Then you're in the right place. Today we're going to dive deep into two different platforms. Teachers Pays Teachers, which is the main one that I use, and also one called Teacher Share or Teach Share. And that's a program that opened up with a lot of fanfare late last year, and we're going to see how they go, how the two platforms perform. I'm going to walk you through the pros and cons of each, and you can figure out which platform fits your goals, maybe decide on doing both. But let's get into it. Let's start with pros of selling TPT. The most obvious thing is the audience is huge. They get millions and millions of individual views every month, and some say hundreds of thousands per day. It is the best platform that you can actually get to sell your resources on at the moment. You can set your price from $1 to $10. There's pros and cons. If it's under $3, you pay an additional fee. And whether you offer sales and things like that, it's up to the individual. It's got a global reach. I'm in Australia, but in US, Canada, I've had people from all over the world, with the exception of maybe Africa, buy resources off me. So it has a universal reach where, in my case, English language resources are required. Obviously, if you're selling Spanish, you might have a lot more sales through South America. In Central America, for example. It's a well-established brand. Everyone knows TPT. If you say TPT, it's actually out there. It's got really good data on there. You can track your views, what's going on. But for the customer, it's fairly good. You got all the different people you may follow, for example, in here. When you do search, so if we do history, so we'll do a search, say, on Australian history. Delete it. So if you do a search on Australian history, it brings them up in a nice easy browse. Here you can then sort by different categories. These are all fairly new, some of them, different standards, by different grade levels and so on. So it's got high school now, which is nice. That's in middle school. That's a new feature that's been changed. And you've got lots of options there. You can go through different bundles, and it uses an algorithm obviously to rank them based on your previous visits and essentially what's popular and what sells. Go through there. So if you want to run a mini business selling resources, TPT is the place that does it. It's fairly easy things to get into. Cons of TPT is if you don't, there's no longer a free account anymore. I think it's $29 US. You've got to pay for your basic seller account. That's good in some ways because it's got rid of a lot of those spam accounts or fly-by-night sellers out of the market. It's reduced those a lot, and TPT's been focusing on that. So basically, if you don't have a fully paid membership, which is $59 US at the moment a year, you only get 45% or 55% of your sales, as opposed to only getting 80% if you've got a paid membership. So certainly you've got to pay at the front, but it's a one-off fee you pay once a year. It's hard to stand out. You really got to find your niche. Lots and lots of people, because it's the biggest, you get the most sellers here. Which look Australian history, all the different resources that come up through here. And why they do marketing, all the feedback is it's not worth doing marketing through TPT. So use your natural algorithms or search to come up as an option for sellers when they're doing their searches, or you're essentially looking at doing your own marketing off platform with Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram and so on to try and generate that traffic through to your store on TPT. So there we go. But it is the biggest and is the best going through. Now, if we jump over to Teach Share. So Teach Share is brand new, and it's much smaller audience going through the differences at the moment. Pricing still work itself out. You do lose a bit of a commission coming out. It's very similar to TPT. Whether they settle on that or not to be competitive, we can't say. There's no analytics or no data at this point. It's very basic, but I know they're working on it. The people who are running, when you contact them, are very helpful and got a really big to-do list to build a really good platform under Teach Share. So that is a positive thing that's actually coming through. Some of the advantages of it, so if I do a search on Australian history on this one, is it's new, and one of my products first. Then I got another product here, and then so on, going through. and there's 175 pages. So getting your products up online now in TeachShare is actually beneficial. There's less competition there. There's less products to actually choose off there. So I do Australian history, civil rights. If I do that, once it loads, my 2 resources are the first ones up. There's another one of my resources. So earlier on, not much competition yet. That's actually a fantastic thing, because essentially what you're doing now is you can get on the ground floor. You can develop your products. One of the reasons I moved over to TeachShare very quickly is they've got a fantastic tool. If you've got an existing TPT store, is that they've got a migration tool and essentially brings everything across lock, stock and barrel over to TeachShare to share straight away. So I was able to move over 1,000 products with no modification, no changes, in essentially what was about an hour's of processing time, and it's up and running. So if I look at my store, and I haven't done anything yet, I'm going to explain that why. So this is just to recreate my TPT store. All these products have come across very quickly and very easily. Where sort of the difference comes in is you see I've got none of my latest or updates going through, then I'll explain why in a minute. The cons for TeachShare, it's new, it's not getting much traffic at all. Now, obviously they've taken a while to get into Google, that'll increase over time. The question is, lots of TPT people are coming across, it'll create more demand for the products in there, but can they get enough market share or hits on their site to actually drag those customers away from TPT or open up a new market? And this is really the challenge that they've got. Now, if they can't do that, well, it'll be like one of the other alternate teacher sales systems, may just puddle along for a while, not do much, may eventually close down. So there's obviously the risk in there. But like I said, with all online stores, once you've created the product and put it up, because there's no fee in sharing your resources on both platforms, once you've got your subscription, or in case of TeachShare, it's free up front, they just take a percentage of your sales. That once it's up there, it's there forever. The big issue I've got with them at the moment is the amount of sales, and that's why I haven't updated up there. And that is why I haven't updated any of the products on there at this stage, simply because very few people are visiting TeachShare and doing sales, at least in my particular niche. So in the time that I've sold, let's go back and have a look at Teach Paid Teachers. I go look at my dashboard. So if we look at, that's my month units sold. If we go back, I think it was about October last year, through to today, I've sold, there we go. I've sold 1,082 products in that time. That's pretty impressive. On TeachShare, with essentially the same amount of products, but obviously no marketing, no linking to it, I have sold 5 products. 2 of those were paid for. 3 of those was my free download. So if you look at the difference between the 2 platforms at this stage, which is, was it April 2025, TeachShare cannot compare to TPT. You're better off going on TPT and essentially paying the annual fee and developing your niche. You'll end up this stage, you'll end up with a better rate of return. Where TeachShare comes in is the ability, once you've set up your TPT store, is to quickly move your resources across. And then from that point, you can then look at modifying and changing them. One of the requests I've got to go in, and a few people ask, is that resyncing. So once I've moved those 1,000 products over, I need to manually update and change them. And to me, that's just a lot of work at this point in time, when I'm really still developing and improving my TPT store. So what I've put a feature request in there is there's an update or a syncing process. So if I'm changing covers, resources, things on my existing TPT products, I can drag them across and actually update my TeachShare store. And that would be another real game changer by them if they can do it. But like I said, if you go to TPT store, okay, like I said, if you've got a TPT store existing, just migrate them across and see what happens. It doesn't hurt. So that's all I've got for today. If you've got any more questions about these 2 different platforms, there are others out there, but like I said, none of them hold a candle to TPT at this point in time. Keep up the good work, build your store, put the questions below, and so subscribe my channel. The more people listening, the more obviously encouragement that I'm helping other teachers. It's more beneficial, so do share it with all your friends and family that want to start a store up. Till then, keep up the good work.